Welcome to the final Roy Morgan Weekly Update for 2023, featuring an all-square federal vote, the first Roy Morgan New Zealand poll with the new government in New Zealand, and a look at the record amount of annual leave Australians have saved up as we head into the summer holidays. First, the final Roy Morgan survey on federal voting intention shows the two major parties deadlocked at 50-50 on a two-party preferred basis in mid-December. If an election were held today, this would result in a hung parliament with the balance of power held by independents and minor parties. Roy Morgan government confidence was virtually unchanged at 77 this week. A majority of Australians, 55.5%, still say the country is heading in the wrong direction, and only 32.5% say the country is heading in the right direction. The ANZ Roy Morgan consumer confidence increased by 1 point to 81.8. This is the highest it's been for over 10 months since early February, and the second week above 80. Although the index ended the year above 80, if we look at 2023 as a whole, the average of these weekly results is 78, and that's a record low for this index, below the previous low of 82.6 in 1990, over 30 years ago. Inflation expectations increased slightly by 0.3% to 5.3% and have now averaged 5.3 over the last 4 weeks to finish the year. Australian inflation expectations are now slightly above the official figure of 4.9% for the year to October 2023. Now, although down from recent highs in October, average retail petrol prices have now spent a record 23 straight weeks above $1.80 per litre. That's for the first time ever. What happens to petrol prices over the next few weeks will have a big impact on how Australians' inflation expectations develop during early 2024. Now, New Zealand. The first Roy Morgan poll of New Zealanders since October's election shows the new National Act New Zealand First government received an immediate boost in support after winning the election. In November, 58% of New Zealanders supported the new government, led by National leader Christopher Luxon. That's up 5.2 percentage points from the election result. Within the government's support for National was at 37.5%, ACT was at 12.5%, and New Zealand First at 8%. However, support for the parliamentary opposition has continued to tumble, and it's now at only 36%, down 5.6% since the election. And the biggest drop in support came for Labor. That was down 5.9% to only 21%. Other opposition parties include the Greens on 12.5% and the Maori Party on only 2.5%. Now, the 2023 election in New Zealand was notable for the fact that support of both major parties was low, the second lowest support for both National and Labor in the last 20 years, while support for the minor parties surged. Indeed, the 2023 election was the best ever result for ACT, the Greens, and the Maori Party. And finally this week, a look at our annual leave entitlements, as many of us are set to take off on holiday. So the latest Roy Morgan data shows Australians have a record 200 million days of annual leave due. This is up 15 million days from 2 years ago and 50 million more days annual leave than just before the pandemic, an increase of over 30%. To be fair, a lot of this is because of the population growth and growth of the working population. The average days due before the pandemic was 12.3, just over 2 weeks, and this has now increased to an average of 14.1 days, nearly 3 weeks of holiday. As with many things in life, leave is not evenly spread. A look at the split of annual leave entitlements shows that over a third of employed Australians, 36.7%, have no annual leave. A further 12.7% have less than 2 weeks, 12.5% have 2 to 3 weeks due, and at the other end of the scale, more Australians than ever before 11.4% have over 7 weeks of annual leave due. And on that note, as we look forward to the holidays, that's a wrap for this year. Thanks for listening today and throughout the year. I'll be back again in January to give the next weekly update, bringing you the most up-to-date readings on consumer confidence, inflation expectations, and voting intentions early in 2024. In the meantime, I'd like to wish everyone a very happy holidays and look forward to seeing you again in the new year.